gentlemen, welcome to the Pitch Time Podcast channel. I'm your host, the HOD of the BSB, and welcome to another match recap straight after the draw between Chelsea and Aston Villa at the Bridge. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, enable notifications to receive all the updates of this kind of match recaps and other content on this channel, of course. There will be no podcast this week, unfortunately, so I'm going to make match recaps whenever possible. Unfortunately as well, I won't be making a recap for the Everton-Manchester City game for obvious reasons. Of course, that game was cancelled due to raising COVID-19 cases, of course. Let's talk into the business in hand. Chelsea versus Aston Villa. This was a game that was really intriguing, and the anticipations were really big considering Chelsea failed to win in the London derby against Arsenal 3-1, losing of course at the Emirates, and Lampard was put under so much pressure heading into this game. 3 doesn't last 4. The form was dipping for the Blues, and they entered this game with a modified side expectedly. Of course, you cannot play with the same side Saturday and on Monday as well. Quite a lot of changes from the back to the front, of course. Hudson-Odoi, Jorginho starting, as well as Giroud, of course, over Tammy Abraham. Timo Werner was on the bench. The start was pretty good, I think, from Chelsea for the first 5 minutes or so. I think they were decent, but of course they couldn't be penetrative enough, and Aston Villa took the game by the scruff of the neck from then onwards. They pressed, they had a little bit of a great spell, I think, in the early goings. The next 15 to 20 minutes they dominated the midfield. They didn't allow Chelsea a lot of space to go through. Douglas Luiz and John McGinn, I think, did some terrific work. John McGinn in particular had a terrific performance today, and against someone like N'Golo Conte, considered one of the best midfielders in the world. That is really saying something. Aston Villa almost scored on a couple of occasions, really, but they couldn't take advantage of the chances that they had. Edward Mendy pulled a couple of saves, and then of course after the 20-minute mark, Chelsea started to enter the game a little bit more. They started to have a little bit more spells of possession and pressure. They found the weakness that they needed, of course, on the right-hand side appropriately. The strongest, I think, of the fronts for Chelsea on the wings, of course, with Chilwell, Mason Mount and Christian Pulisic forming a brilliant trio down there, exchanging, swapping position, moving to the spaces, moving to those pockets of space in between the wingers and the centre-halves really well. And on one brilliant move, of course, Christian Pulisic set up Ben Chilwell tightly offside, really on the edge, crossing into the box, and Olivier Giroud makes it 1-0 for Chelsea at the 34th minute in the first half. After that, of course, Chelsea continued to press a little bit more. They tried to look for a second goal. They seemed to be freed up a little bit from the shackles of the intense game in the 0-0, the intense work from the midfield of Aston Villa before the goal, but they couldn't add a second goal before half-time. The half ended 1-0 for Chelsea. Aston Villa started strong in the second half. They attacked Chelsea with a little bit more intensity. They started really strong, and they made up for it, scoring in the 50th minute, 5 minutes into the second half. Anwar El Ghazi scores after a brilliant link-up play as well between Jack Grealish and Matt Tugg on the left-hand side. Bertrand Traore crosses the ball, and Anwar El Ghazi with the finish between the legs of Edward Mendy, making it 1-1. From there, I think it was an open game for the rest of it. Aston Villa had chances, Chelsea had chances, but I think Chelsea went more aggressive, looking for the result. Of course, Havertz was brought on, Timo Werner eventually was brought on, but with no avail, really no big effect whatsoever, if you ask me. Chelsea, I don't know, again, a combination of, luck, sheer luck, and ineffectiveness, I think, from the players of Chelsea. They couldn't really move a lot. They couldn't make enough quick transitions, really, as Aston Villa made themselves more compact, I think, as the game drawn close, as the game went on towards the later stages of it. And Chelsea, of course, kept looking to the crosses, kept looking more wide. Timo Werner, I think, wasn't effective. He hadn't anything to do in the 25 to 30 minutes when he was brought on. I didn't think it was wise really to bring him on. I thought probably you bring Abraham on if you want to capitalise on the crosses, because I think Timo Werner is someone who likes a little bit of a deep open play to the right spaces more than the kind of, fox into the box kind of thing. He's not that guy. Despite the fact that he's a striker. Havertz, I think, was not horrible, but I think quite mediocre. He's sitting on the bench once again. I don't think that Frank Lampard is going to find any kind of excuse for Timo Werner's or Havertz's performance. I think they were rested. They started as subs today. Yes, fitness levels may not be at 100% obviously, but I don't think that's an excuse on the highest level. And he said that he couldn't adapt to the Premier League, but certainly that won't please the Chelsea fans. I said it again, I said it once and I'm saying it again. The patience of the Chelsea fans is going to be growing thin over the next couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks. If they don't see a change, of course, potentially there will be no game against Man City on Sunday, so that's probably going to be a plus. For Chelsea, maybe it will be an extra break for them, of course, before the 2 weeks in January where there will be FA Cup fixtures, of course, and AFL Cup fixtures on the 4th of January. We don't know exactly what is going to happen for that. The isolation period probably would be around 10 to 14 days potentially, so that could throw the semi-final between between Manchester United and Manchester City in the EFL Cup to a dust. Overall, I think it's a draw that is well deserved for Aston Villa for their performance. I think they were well enough to shut down Chelsea, who were ineffective for most of the game, I would say, aside from the spell in the later stages of the first half where they looked really, really good. But they couldn't extend their pressure for the full 90 minutes. Aston Villa clearly physically more ready than Chelsea. I mean, some of the players looked really exhausted out there. Probably Jorginho wasn't cutting the mustard anymore. Callum Hudson-Odoi didn't exactly also set the world on fire despite having a decent first half. Christian Pulisic, I think, had a better game with Chilwell down the left. Mason Mount, I think, always decent as usual, but overall another bad result for Chelsea that's going to be putting Frank Lampard under more pressure as the season progresses and coming into the business end of the season towards the new year and the Champions League knockout stages. That's all for this game, of course. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, and enable notifications to receive the updates on this kind of match recaps and the other content on this channel, of course. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing an Everton Manchester City recap again because of the postponing of that game due to COVID cases in the Man City squad until hopefully tomorrow's videos. I'm going to make a match recap or two tomorrow, of course, that's for sure. So until then, I was your boy the HOD of the PSP, and you will see me soon. Goodbye.